Good afternoon, scholars. I apologize for the delay. I have been on a very important mission this morning. I received word that the White Witch, the so-called Queen of Narnia, was here in Jackson, and I have been trying to hunt her down, and I have spotted her whereabouts. You're not going to believe where she is. So here's the plan. See, I'm going to negotiate with her and see if I can get her to leave town, because I've got some things she might want, and I think I can get her to leave in exchange for these gifts. Toilet paper. Guarantee you she doesn't have toilet paper and she needs some. Not what you think it is. Hand sanitizer, freshly brewed. Give her some of this, bribe her. I think she'll leave. Don't drink it. It's hand sanitizer. Are you ready for this? That's right. That's where I found her. She was messing with this sign, trying to take down those letters, and I watched her go in that door right there. I'm going after her. That's right, scholars. I saw her go in that door right here. Let's go after her. She can't do this. Well, she locked the door behind her. I'm gonna find her. I will find her. Well, I don't think I'm gonna find that witch today. I was so close. So I guess I'll stop and go ahead and teach. Before we move on to chapter 14, let's do a little bit more analysis of chapter 13. What is analysis? A literary analysis is an examining of all the parts of a novel, or a chapter in this case, and thinking about how the author uses those elements to create certain effects. In other words, what does it mean in plain English? What are those parts that we examine to figure out what it means? Well, here they are, some of them, and we've talked about these in class, so here's a quick review. We look at the characters. Characters are the people or animals in the story. We look at the setting. Setting is when and where the story takes place. We look at the tone. Tone is the attitude of the author. We look at the mood. Mood is how the story makes me feel. And we look at imagery. Imagery is symbolism and the painting of mental pictures. For example, the witch symbolizes evil. That is imagery. She creates a mental image of evil in our minds. So now that we've reviewed what analysis is and how we do it, let's take a look at one. Once again, we're going to refer to the Spark Notes on this chapter. And this particular reference can be found at the web address listed on the screen. So here's an excerpt or portion from the Spark Notes analysis of chapter 13. The scene between Aslan and the witch creates an overwhelming sense of dread. We realize that there are forces that even Aslan cannot fight, such as the Emperor's deep magic. The grim reaction that Aslan has following his mysterious conversation with the witch also establishes a sense of foreboding. Aslan's powerlessness before the deep magic demonstrates that, although he may be the god of Narnia, even he must answer to a higher law. In Lewis's Christian allegory, symbolism, Aslan represents Christ, or God the Son, and the Emperor represents God the Father. Just as Christ is subject to his Father and must obey his commands, Aslan must obey the mystical laws set by the mysterious Emperor. Aslan cannot defy the deep magic. We also know that if Aslan represents Christ, the witch most likely represents Satan. Picking up again, Lewis does not explain exactly what Aslan and the witch talk about in their secret conversation. Instead, Lewis builds anticipation, describing only the reaction of Aslan and the witch to their agreement. We are curious why Aslan is crestfallen and unhappy. We also realize that he must love Edmund intensely for him to make such a sacrifice to save his life. If we read the text very closely with an eye for other Christian symbols, We can predict what will happen next. Lewis is deliberately vague in creating connections to the Christian religion, allowing him to prolong the suspense and anticipation. Aslan's final roar is a release of tension, and the first time that we ever see him express powerful emotion. So let me forewarn you, it's about to get really intense. These are the vocabulary words for chapter 14. A campaign is a military operation. A siege is a blockade of a strong place during a war to force its surrender. Groped, in this case, means you felt your way around in the dark. Leering means staring at someone in an evil way. Rabble is a disorderly crowd. To whet is to sharpen. When I was growing up, you would often see people sharpening pocket knives on what they called a whetstone. So whet is to sharpen. A pact is an agreement. Appeased means satisfied. If someone says you're just trying to appease her, it means you're trying to satisfy her demands. So here's today's plan. Read chapter 14. And let me forewarn you, chapter 14 is very intense. So be prepared. This is your challenge question. Using 3 proper and complete sentences, describe how you felt as you read what happened to Aslan. And I want you to use some new words in this description. Don't just say sad or scared. Go to thesaurus.com. Find some new adjectives to take the place of what you would normally use. Let's broaden our horizons on this one. Email your responses to gekelley@jmcss.org for the shout out, and I will post them and celebrate with you. I'll see you tomorrow, scholars. Very proud of you guys.